Hey everyone, welcome to Frankie's Forest. I'm your host, Frankie, and in today's video we are going to be doing a little bit of a garden walk and talk. Mainly veggies. You might see a few flowers being included here and there, but mainly my vegetables and herbs and things like that. So let's get started. We'll start on the deck, and most of my tomatoes are slowing down. Actually, some of them are unfortunately succumbing to some irregular watering patterns because it's kind of like a weird time in the year now, because it's like the end of summer and it's getting into fall, but like some days are hot and some days are like really chilly. So a lot of my tomatoes, even though they are forming, they are becoming dry like this, which is a sign of irregular watering. So this is a tomato plant that is really slowing down the most. It has a lot of green tomatoes on it. However, I don't know if they're going to develop because there aren't many leaves to give energy to them. And then like right down here, we just have a little cilantro, or no, this is a parsley. Just a little parsley in a grow bag. The parsley actually did phenomenal this year. Most times parsley ends up bolting like in like July, like really early July, but this just lived throughout the year. And I guess it's because it's kind of under this little roof area here, so it hasn't gotten too much sun and not too much water, which is good. I have sorry about the crow in the background. I have a mandevilla just to attract some pollinators, and it's doing a great job at that. This is a pear tomato that is also slowing down. Unfortunately, I got a little bit of a late start, so this is the pear tomato. It has a lot growing, but they are actually also succumbing to some irregular watering. As you can see, they're kind of splitting. As long as it heals, they're still edible, but if you see that the outside is like still wet and moist, then there's probably disease that is going into them. Like this one, you can see it's not fully calloused over. It's kind of a little wet, so it's very susceptible to disease. A couple of my tomato plants I actually started from cuttings. I have a little bit of a gardening job, and so when I go to prune some of my clients' tomatoes, I actually get some cuttings and I'm able to plant them. But like I said, they did get a late start, so they haven't produced very much. This is a tomato that is completely done. There's no more tomatoes that are going to be produced. This was a beefsteak. There's another beefsteak right here, which also is starting to be affected by this weather. It does have one beefsteak, probably the last one, that is going to finish maturing. I'll pick it, and that'll be the last one of them. One of my tomatoes in my grow bag already died, so I haven't cleaned that up yet. But moving over to the bench here, a little bit of a herb arrangement that I received. The Thai basil is starting to be affected by this weather. Not too bad though, because a lot of people's basil have actually been affected weeks earlier, so I'm glad we were able to have it for a little longer. Some rosemary and some mint. A little more mint here. Like I said, we might include a couple other than veggie plants, so I'll show you my touch-me-not plant. When you touch it, they all start to shrink. I thought that was kind of cool. A friend actually gave the seeds to me, and I grew the seeds. Thank you very much to you. Moving along to this lamp post, whatever you want to call it. I planted in my shade garden, I planted a seed right at the base there, a seed of these Blue Lake pole beans. That is the species of these beans. And it completely grew up this lamp post, and it is just doing phenomenally. Phenomenal. I'm completely fine because it actually looks kind of cool at nighttime when you turn this on, and then there's all these vines around it. It looks pretty cool in my opinion. And they are really producing excellently. The key to growing string beans is to keep picking, and even if they look like they might be a little small at the start, when it just starts producing, pick them even if they are a little smaller than the desired maturity, because the more you pick, the more will come. And once it gets a little later into the season, you can start letting them grow a little bit bigger, but to be honest, they're much more tender and tasty when they are smaller. So just a little note there. And usually they'll grow 2 at the end of each stem. So if you can think maybe a dozen stems come off of that one at the base, then, you know, a lot of string beans are being produced almost, you know, maybe 6 or 7 a day. And we're not going to be eating them every day, so they pile up. And so when we have them, they're, you know, very sustaining. Moving down to the shade garden, the zucchini actually died that was planted here. The kale we ripped out because it was destroyed by different diseases and pests. So I have my cucumber here, my Chinese cucumber, and I just let it kind of fill in this area where the zucchini was and just let it kind of fall down into here. What's interesting about these Chinese zucchini is you harvest them when they're yellow. So when they're this color, you harvest them. They're not quite ready yet, as you can see, they're kind of small. Also, at this time of year, they kind of grow a little wonky. As you can see, it's a bit strange, but still very edible and very delicious and nutritious nonetheless. And then, of course, the dusty miller that is guarding from rabbits and things like that. A little bit of orange mint and a little random tomato that I placed there just so I didn't have to throw it out. So let's take a little walk over to here. Here I have a long bean. I believe that's what it's called. This was given to me by a friend as well. And it's produced 1 for me so far. It was started very late for me. I had the seedling and I just didn't plant it for such a long time. So I've gotten like 2. Here's one that's starting to grow. They grow very thin and very long like this. Moving on, I have Chinese eggplant. A lot of Chinese vegetables in my garden this year, just to try something a little different. So I have 2. They've given me 3 or 4. Once again, a late start with a lot of my vegetables this year, including these. But they're very sweet, and they grow more long than like thick, like the Italian kind, which is very good. So they're not bitter at all. They're really delicious. So we can move along a bit to my side raised bed. Just if you want a quick glance at our garden, our flower garden right now. That's what it is as of now. The marigolds, most of them are doing well, but who would have ever thought that rabbits would have loved to eat them? We got them specifically for that, so that rabbits wouldn't eat them, but what are you gonna do? So here I have a quite ginormous fennel. This is not the kind that you eat from the root. You don't eat the root of it, or not the root, the stem. The stem is edible, but you know, the fennel where you get it, like the ball of the stem. You know what I'm talking about. This is not that kind. It's just for, you could eat the flowers, leaves, and stem, but this is not the Italian kind. Anyways, I'm staying a little far because there's a ton of yellow jackets and other kinds of wasps and bees and gross stuff there. Not gross. I love pollinators, but I'm getting off note. Down here we have an array of peppers. This first one here is a shishito. I'll bend down and risk it for you guys because I know you're dying to see my shishito peppers. They grow really long like this. They're actually quite delicious. I really like them, and they produce a ton. Even though this plant is like really small, like almost 1 every day, which I don't know. To me, that's good from 1 singular plant. And then these are all, what are these? Serranos? Oh no, mariachi, yes. I always forget the name. I always call them serranos. I don't know what a serrano pepper is, but these are mariachis, and these ones are actually ready for harvest. This one is specifically. This is kind of the size you get them. These are actually really spicy, eaten raw. When they're cooked, the spice dies down a little, but very good to spice some things up. And here we have a couple cherry peppers. There's one right there, and then moving to the, ooh, I just got attacked. And then marigolds to guard them. Moving here, we have a habanero, right? Yes, habanero orange, a very, very spicy pepper, if eaten with the seeds in. And this is producing really well. I actually have a ton of them inside, but I think it's kind of slowing down. I haven't seen one produced. for a couple days. And then 2 jalapenos that are pretty small and also got a late start. 2 jalapenos, and then 1 more cherry pepper back there. And then just a little bit of arugula that has bolted extremely early, unfortunately. So that's pretty much the veggies for now. I feel like there's more. I just can't, I don't know, I just can't figure out where more is. So I guess that's it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed that little spontaneous veggie garden tour. If you did, please remember to give my channel or this video a like and also subscribe. It really helps the algorithm and helps other people to see my videos. So with all that being said, I hope you guys have an excellent rest of your day. And as always, happy growing.